Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber.
The senators will take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privileges of the floor will please retire to the gallery. Good morning, senators. Good morning, guests. Senators and those in attendance, if you are able, please rise. We will be led in prayer this morning by the Reverend Dr. Derwin Hickman Sr. of Divine World Changers International Ministries of Richmond. Following the prayer, if everyone will please remain standing, and we will be then led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America by our Senate page, Ani Nishanian of Fairfax.
Good morning. Happy Love Day. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, creator of all people and nations, we humbly come before you today to acknowledge your wisdom, your justice, and your love. We recognize the presence of all faiths in this place and those who have not come into a proper religion. But God, we thank you that right now that you will inhabit this place. We ask for justice, fairness, and dignity of all people. We extend our greetings to Governor Glenn Youngkin, Lieutenant Governor, in the chambers and the Senate, and we dedicate right now, God, your spirit to take hold of this place. For the heart of the people, Father, we come today to establish, encourage, bring hope, and demonstrate respect and love toward all people. Your word remains in us in 1 John 4:7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. May this love be reflected in the laws passed, the conversations, and the hearts of those who serve. We pray for laws that uplift and protect, especially concerning fair housing, criminal justice reforms, and care for the marginalized communities. May we foster care. May we love one another. May we come in a spirit of strength. May we, God, speak right now in a way of love, that we will respect each other and that we will honor each other and that we will do away with racism and bigotry, God, and that we will fill this house with love. Allow us to operate, God, from a place of love. Help us, Father God, to flow, and Dr. King would say, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So, God, we ask right now that your presence and your anointing and your spirit will fall in this place. It's in the name of Jesus that I pray, and we say amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll. All those present, please vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam President. Senate Journal for Thursday, February 13th, 2025.
The senator from Charlottesville, Senator Deeds, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All those in favor of waiving the reading of the journal? It must be done, Senator. We'll record their votes. Aye, those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 27, noes 7. Rule 36-1.
Ayes 27, noes 7, Rule 36-1. The reading of the journal is in fact waived. The clerk will report any communications from the House of Delegates. Chair recognizes the senator from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Surville.
Good morning, Madam President.
Good morning.
Madam President, I move to waive the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates.
The question is, shall the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates be waived? Those in favor of waiving the reading will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 33, noes 2.
Ayes 33, noes 2. The reading of the communication from the House of Delegates is waived. The clerk will report any communications from the governor.
We do not have any, Madam President.
Now comes the time in our morning hour when we will discover who all of you beautiful people are. And so the procedure is that your senator will rise and tell us who you are. And if you will rise at that time, whether your organization or your name is called, and then you'll hold your applause until after I officially welcome you, and then we'll applaud you together. And so with that, I do call on the senator from Western Henrico, Senator Van Valkenburg.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, members of the body, our invocation this morning was led by Pastor Dr. Derwin Hickman, if you please rise, and his wife, co-pastor Francois Hickman. He is the senior pastor of Divine World Changers International Ministries, which is located in Western Henrico County, and their vision is to transform lives with love, heart, and mind of God. Since their founding in 2016, they focused on changing one heart at a time through their dedicated community service in the broader Richmond area and through their missionary work across the world. You know, I got a little thing written up here, but what I would just say is they bring the heat, y'all. Whether it's in the service, whether it's in their community, and it's from the top down, all their parishioners as well. They are just so dedicated to love, which is what you heard in the prayer today. And so once we get out of session here, I'm going to be back over for a service pretty soon, so I can't wait to see them there. But they're just such good people, and so I hope we would give them a warm Senate welcome.
Welcome to you. Thank you for coming and praying for us, as you always do. And Madam First Lady, thank you also for being here. So good to see the both of you and to understand that your ministry is actually worldwide. Imagine that, sacrifices all around. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Stanley, the senator from Franklin.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise first for an announcement and then for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. Madam President, I wanted to announce that a while ago when when Governor Ralph Northam was our governor. His Excellency was here every Valentine's Day. It became kind of a tradition where he would reach out through a governor's message that was read by the clerk wishing me a happy Valentine's Day. Even one year he asked if I would be his Valentine, and I immediately said yes, of course. So to my surprise, one of our great young pages, who is the son of his former chief of staff, Everett Mercer, came to my office and delivered to me from his father, Clark, former chief of staff, and His Excellency Ralph Northam, a Valentine. And so, Madam Clerk, I'm here to say on TV that yes, Governor Northam, I will be your Valentine once again. Thank you. Thank you. Now, Madam Clerk, I have an introduction. Madam President. I never do that.
The senator may say on.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the body. This is probably one of my favorite introductions of all the ones I've done over 15 years. Because of Madam Clerk and her love of animals, she allowed one of those beautiful dogs that are out there on the plaza in the Darden Garden to come in here today. And every single one of you who petted her has a little bit of dog hair on your jacket, like I do. But that is such an important message out there because what it demonstrates is a need and how we have taken steps forward here in the Commonwealth of Virginia in the protection of our companion animals. In the gallery, record-setting, first time I would think ever, is Aphrodite from the Richmond SPCA. She's with Tabitha Treloar, the executive director of the SPCA. But Aphrodite comes from California. And she was rescued and brought here to Richmond at the Richmond SPCA during the wildfires. And she is adorable, and she is so cute. And she would look so great in Senator Bagby's car after session. But, ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the greatest things ever created by our Lord. And they teach us, as my dad said, to know as human beings perfect love, perfect loyalty, and perfect forgiveness. And so, Madam President, in our gallery today, we have Tabitha Treloar and the wonderfully cute and adorable and available for adoption, Aphrodite. And I want to thank them for being out there today to bring awareness to the needs that we have and making sure that we find forever homes for all of these dogs that our SPCAs and our releasing agencies take on that obligation. They will change your world and they'll open your heart. I thank you, Madam President. Please extend to them and Aphrodite the warm welcome of the Virginia Senate.
All the way from California, we have Aphrodite. And we thank you also from the Richmond SPCA for coming. And of course, her name, as we know, she's named after the Greek goddess Aphrodite, goddess of love, goddess of beauty. And so, well, that must be her personality. So we thank you for all that you do, yes, for the animals, because we know as you treat the animals, so we will treat each other. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Hashmi, the senator from Richmond.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I've been delighted to host two wonderful interns in my office this session, David and Emily, if they will rise. David is a junior at the University of Richmond studying politics and psychology, and in the future he hopes to have a career in diplomacy and human rights, helping to advance the mission of our peacekeeping organizations. And Emily is a senior at the University of Richmond, where she studies political science and Spanish. She is interested in public policy and hopes to have a career working in local or state government. And I just want to thank them both for the work and engagement that they have been a part of this session. If we can give them the warm welcome of the Senate. Thank you
for coming, and thank you for understanding all that we're doing here. As you can see, we cannot do it by ourselves. We do need a lot more hands, and here you are, and you're studying diplomacy. Diplomacy indeed has turned many in anger away. Well, we know that because it happens in our families. So that's where politics, I think, starts. But so thankful that you're here. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Salim, the senator from Central Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. In the gallery today, we have Roger Custer and his 2 young children who are my constituents. And they came to see me and their delegate earlier today to learn about the General Assembly, given that they don't have school today. So they decided to wake up early, come down to the General Assembly and see what we do. And I wish that you would give them the warm welcome of the Senate today.
Welcome, Custers. You will always remember this day that you have come and seen your government in action. I don't think you can forget it. Not the majesty of this wonderful chamber, this, well, full of history. And we're so glad to see you, and thank you, sir, for bringing them. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Marsden, the senior senator from Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for a pronouncement and an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
First, the pronouncement. I would like to thank Senator Stanley for offering a positive reference to the state of California for the first time in 20 years. Thank you, sir. And now, Madam President, my introduction.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Today, we're joined by members of Virginia's animal rescue community, along with Best Friends Animal Society, to celebrate the incredible work of shelters across the state. This year, 80 shelters in Virginia successfully saved at least 90% of the dogs and cats in their care, contributing to the state's overall save rate of 83% in 2024. With just a small increase in pet adoptions, Virginia could reach even greater milestones in animal welfare. As part of today's event in the Darden Garden, they have brought adoptable dogs rescued from the Los Angeles fires. If you're looking for a new furry friend, this could be your chance. And even if you're not ready to adopt, be sure to stop by their booth and to say hi to all the pups. Madam President, I would like to extend to them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you also for coming, and thank you for all that you do for our furry friends, feathered friends, lizard friends. Thank you. Thank you for being there and for helping them. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Locke, the senator from Hampton.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, I ask that we extend a warm welcome of the Senate to a distinguished group of guests visiting us today from the Minority Political Leadership Institute, a division of the L. Douglas Wilder School of Government and Public Affairs at the Gracie Harris Leadership Institute at Virginia Commonwealth University. The MPLI experience is designed to promote leadership development for individuals interested in issues important to minority communities, including community economics, political climate, civic engagement, and equity. MPLI offers insights and concepts regarding personal leadership, policy, and legislative processes to cultivate a deeper understanding of legacy, responsible stewardship, public service, and integrity for future leaders from across the Commonwealth. Participants of the program are here today not only as learners, but as leaders who will shape the policies and progress of Virginia in years to come. Please join me in welcoming the 2025 cohort of the Minority Political Leadership Institute, and let us express our gratitude for their dedication to the ideals of leadership and service.
Thank you all for coming. As you know, this is where the rubber meets the road, and we are so glad that you are very interested in what happens next. And you're part of what will happen next because you have put yourselves in position to be part of the next. You are the future. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator McDougall, the senator from Hanover.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, could the journal reflect that the senator from Rockingham, the senator from Roanoke, the senator from Stafford, and the senator from Shenandoah are all away from the Capitol and pressing personal business?
The journal will so reflect, Senator. Thank you.
Roanoke, but Botetourt.
The correction, sir, is noted. Senator Van Valkenburg, the senator from Western Henrico. Is there any other business to come for the Senate? Hearing none, the clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Friday, February 14th, 2025. Unfinished business, Senate. Senate Bill 780 has passed the House with amendment.
Senator Carol Foy, the senator from Eastern Prince William.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate concur with the House amendment. And speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This amendment provides that this legislation will only apply to contracts, policies, or plans delivered, issued for delivery, or renewed on or after January 1st, 2026. This amendment was also adopted by the cognate of this bill and would align the language to avoid conference.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments on Senate Bill 780? All in favor of concurring will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 24, noes 11.
Ayes 24, noes 11. The Senate concurs.
Senate Bill 850 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we concur with the House substitute. Speaking to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this bill has to do with, if you recall, making it easier or more attractive, I guess, for private water companies to purchase failing public water systems. Heard we had one or two of those in the Commonwealth. And this one, the House had a couple amendments they wanted to make to the bill to add some consumer protections back into the bill for the State Corporation Commission when these kinds of projects are approved. The amendments were okay with the folks that were interested in the legislation, and so I think we should go ahead and pass this and get it on to the governor.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? Those in favor of concurring will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 0.
Ayes 35, no 0. The Senate concurs.
Senate Bill 897 has passed the House with amendment.
Again, Senator Carol Foy, the senator from Eastern Prince William.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate concur with the House amendment. And speaking to that motion.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. This amendment carves out consumer-directed services under the state plan for medical assistant services and includes a delayed enactment clause until 2026. This amendment was also made in the House cognate and House appropriations and was intended to reduce the fiscal impact of this bill. This amendment will make the language identical to avoid conference.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? Those in favor of concurring will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? We will wait, Senator. Madam Clerk, strike the board. For what purpose does the senator from...
Having voted on the prevailing side, did we agree to the amendments?
No, sir. Again, the senator, having previously explained her concurring, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment to Senate Bill 897? Those in favor of that motion?
Madam Chair, I apologize.
For what purpose does the senator from Charlottesville
I'd like
rise?
to speak to that.
Senator, if you'll give me the time. For what purpose does the senator from Charlottesville rise?
I'd like to speak to that motion.
The senator may continue.
Madam President, I'm afraid that the amendment that the House drew was not properly drawn. And so I would hope that, and I apologize for not having spoken to the senator. I was just speaking to the chair of finance. And I don't think that the amendment was properly drawn. And so I would hope we would reject this amendment and try to get it right in conference if we have to. I don't know.
Is that motion a buy for the day, Senator, or some other motion? Senator Carol Foy, the senator from Eastern Prince William.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, if this can go by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 897 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 962 has passed the House with a substitute with an amendment.
Again, Senator Carol Foy.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate concur with the House amendment. And speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This amendment includes an exemption for transportation-related construction projects. This language was always intended to be included, and it was mistakenly left out during the committee process. This amendment will align the language to match the House cognate to avoid conference.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The Senate concurs.
Senate Bill 974 has passed the House with an amendment.
The senator from Western Henrico, Senator Van Valkenburg.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that we concur with the House amendments and speaking to that motion.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, members of the body, this is the plan review for site plans and plats bill that we voted for. It's functionally the same bill. We caught a drafting error, and then we just exempted localities under 5,000 or less, and so I would hope that we would accept the amendments.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments? Those in favor of concurring will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 30, noes 5.
Ayes 30, noes 5. The Senate concurs.
Senate Bill 1020 has passed the House with an amendment. Amendments.
The senator from Western Prince William, Senator Ohm.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move the Senate concur with the House amendments and speaking to the motion.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, the amendment is intended to clarify that the report should focus on evaluating the current state of the restaurant meals program without assuming that expansion is mandatory or inevitable. This was made by the Dean of the House, the delegate from Caroline. It removes the language about identified barriers to program expansion. It restructures the section that talks about barriers by removing the specific reference to barriers to program expansion, and it adds, quote, or its possible expansion after success. This wording makes it clear that the expansion of the program is not guaranteed, but would be a consideration. With that, Madam President, I move to renew my motion.
The question is, shall the Senate concur to the House amendments on Senate Bill 1020? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 0.
Ayes 36, no 0. The senator concurs. Senator Favola, the senator from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, having voted on the side by which we passed Senate Bill 780, I would ask that the Senate reconsider that vote so everybody in the chamber can cast a vote.
The question is, shall the vote by which Senate Bill the House amendments were concurred be reconsidered? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, no 0. The vote is reconsidered. Again, the senator from Eastern Prince William, Senator Carol Foy.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. After having previously explained what the the amendment does, I ask that we concur to the amendment.
The question, again, is shall the Senate concur with the House amendments on Senate Bill 780? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 24, noes 12.
Ayes 24, noes 12. The Senate again concurs.
Senate Bill 1056 has passed the House with amendments.
Senator Eben, the senator from Alexandria.
Thank you, Madam President. With a recommendation that they be rejected, I would move that we accept the House amendments to Senate Bill 1056. And speaking to that motion,
The senator has the floor.
this just has to do with the timing of a report on the possible indexing of unemployment benefits. It delays it to the report to the first day of the General Assembly session in 2027, which is too late to take practical action in that session. And I move it be rejected. No one from the VEC had told me they had any problems with this schedule, and we can work this out at an earlier date. So I move that I ask that we reject the amendments.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 1, noes 35.
Ayes 1, noes 35. The House amendments are rejected.
Senate Bill 1128 passed the House with a substitute.
Senator Lucas, the senator from Portsmouth. The senator has the floor.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, this is a Section 1 bill in support of the tenets of the Governor's Executive Order 36, one of which is to provide stable housing in an effort to reduce recidivism and homelessness. And with that explanation, Madam President, I move that we concur with the House substitute.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute for Senate Bill 1128? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 22, noes 14.
Ayes 22, noes 14. The Senate concurs.
Senate Bill 1181 has passed the House with a substitute.
For what purpose does the senator from Charlottesville rise?
I'd like to speak. I rise for a motion.
The senator has the floor.
I move that the House or the Senate concur with the House amendment. I'd like to speak to that.
The senator may continue.
I'd like to say that this is simply a declaratory amendment. However, it's not. It's the same amendment the House insisted on last year, and it makes the bill weaker, but not weak enough to pick up any votes. It simply allows you to carry assault weapons in certain instances. This is the assault weapons bill.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The Senate concurs.
Senate Bill 1188 has passed the House with an amendment.
The senator from Western Fairfax County, Senator Pogarski.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate concur with the House amendment. And speaking to that motion,
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. The House amendment makes a very small change to the bill, striking shall on line 21, and it replaces it with may. And this deals with regarding the board's use of outside professional credential verification services. I move that it be accepted.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? Those in favor of concurring will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, no 0. The Senate concurs with the amendments.
Senate Bill 1212 has passed the House with a substitute.
Again, Senator Pekarsky.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate concur with the House's substitute and speaking to that motion.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. This was the bill that dealt with hidden and mandatory fees. When this House cognate came up on the other side, the patron over there and I were able to continue working with many stakeholders to ensure clarity around the requirements. So this substitute deals with the clarity of those. I'll go through them really quickly just so folks have an idea of what they are, but they do not change the bill as a whole in a substantive way, and they have also, I believe, already passed the House cognate with this substitute in general laws. So on lines 474 to 486, we added provisions as part of a separate existing code section on food delivery platforms for clarification. On lines 517 through 519, we clarified for companies that might sell a good that is different from a service and those prices that can be advertised separately. On lines 526 through 28, we clarified the definition of price variable suppliers. On line 59, we ensured that broadband companies that are in compliance with the federal pricing regulations will also be compliant with this code section. On lines 532 to 33, there was a clarifying amendment to align federal definitions and requirements for cable operators. Lines 534 to 35, there was an amendment working with satellite companies to align with federal regs. Lines 536 to 37 allowed compliance from a ticketing company if they're in compliance with federal FTC regulations. Lines 538 to 39 is just a code cleanup section for food delivery platforms, and 551 through 52 clarifies federal preemption for the airline industry. And as I said, Madam President, this has already passed general laws and gotten wide support. I think it was unanimous support from this body, and stakeholders are all in alignment. Everyone's happy and understanding, so I move to pass the substitute.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute for Senate Bill 1212? Those in favor of concurring will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, no 0. The Senate concurs.
Senate Bill 1251.
Senator Craig, the senator from Chesapeake.
Thank you, Madam President. Can this bill go by for the day?
Without objection, Senate Bill 1251 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 1270 has passed the House with amendments.
Senator Hackworth, the senator from Tazewell.
Yes, Madam President, I move that we accept the House amendments, and speaking of that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a bill that evaluates the prevalence of deed fraud, and the House removed a couple of the requested actions for the Technical Advisory Group and also corrected the name of the Virginia Court Clerks Association. So those are the two changes, basically technical changes, Madam President. I renew my motion to accept the House amendments.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments on Senate Bill 1270? Those in favor of concurring will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, no 0. The Senate concurs with the amendments proposed by the House of Delegates.
Senate Bill 1329 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator Marsden, the senior senator from Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we accept the House substitute. And speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This substitute from the House brings together the bill that Senator Boysko has passed out of this chamber regarding to storage of weapons in homes that might be available to minors. And it also brings together my bill, which dealt with the issue of people no longer, that only people with a concealed weapons permit could have a gun in a vehicle, and Delegate Fagan's bill, which now requires that it's been all put together, and what his bill and my bill do together is that it requires that if you have a handgun in a vehicle, it must be locked. The lockbox must be of a certain type as described in the bill. It must be affixed to the car. The gun must not be viewable from outside the vehicle. It reiterates that you must report a stolen gun, but it adds a provision that if that stolen gun can be traced to another person, that it becomes instead of a Class 4 misdemeanor for not reporting, it becomes a Class 1. And so that is essentially what the bill does, and it does have an enactment clause that deals with having the state police, as funds are available, to provide a public information campaign to alert the public as to the aspects of this bill that would impact them. And so with that, Madam President, I renew my motion that the House substitute be agreed to.
Senator Boysko, the senator from Northern Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I think there's a little bit of confusion. The bill as amended.
For what purpose does the senator rise?
Speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
The bill, I have it pulled up, the substitute, and as I am seeing, the way it left the House was in different posture than what my senator friend from the senior senator from Fairfax described. I would encourage the body to vote against this substitute so that it can go into conference and get put in the right posture. It is not the same safe storage language that is in the same posture that this Senate has passed out. It is in the original posture that the House patron thank you. If we could take it by for the day.
No objection. Madam President, no objection. I was assured that essentially it was the same language that came over, and the senator, who is much more familiar with that language, says it is not, so let's take this by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 1329 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 1449 has passed the House with a substitute.
The senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
With the recommendation it be rejected, I would move that we adopt the House substitute. And speaking to that.
The senator has the floor.
This is about local assessment of the high energy use facilities, and this involves now energy use, and we need to get into conference, discuss what localities can and cannot do, and what they're in the proper position to assess. Thank you.
The question is, with the recommendation that it be rejected, shall the substitute be concurred with? Those in favor will record their votes aye, those opposed no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 4, noes 31, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 4, noes 1, Rule 36-1. The House does not concur. The Senate does not concur.
Senate Bill 1476 has passed the House with amendment.
The senator from Washington, Senator Pillion.
Madam President, I move that the Senate concur with the House amendment, and speaking to that.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The House amendment just simplifies language in the bill. It's pretty simple.
Sir? Sir, is that the explanation?
That's the explanation, Madam President.
The senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal.
Madam President, would the senator yield for a question?
Will the senator from Washington yield for a question?
Since it's Valentine's Day, I will yield.
The senator from Washington yields. The senator from Hanover has the floor.
Madam President, could the senator tell me how many reps he can do with this?
The senator from Washington.
Answer the senator a lot.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll. Ayes 30, noes 5. The Senate concurs with the amendments proposed by the House of Delegates.
We are awaiting House action on the next section on page 13. Uncontested calendar, House bills on third reading.
Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move that all the House bills on the third reading on the uncontested calendars on pages 13 through 26, House Bill 1579 through 2783 be advanced their final passage in the block after the adoption of any amendments thereto. Then any senator desiring to move a bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall the House bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 13 through 26, House Bill 1579 through House Bill 2783, be placed upon their final passage in the block with any amendments thereto, and the understanding that any senator desiring a bill to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? I'm sorry. We'll say those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will read the number of the bill.
House Bill 1579, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 1586, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 1614, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations, and there is a floor substitute.
Senator Ayer, the senator from Eastern Enrico.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the substitute be agreed to, and I'm happy to speak to that motion.
Want to waive the reading?
I move to waive the reading.
The question is, shall the reading of the floor substitute be waived? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The reading of the floor substitute is waived. Senator Ayer.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to adopt the floor substitute, and I'm happy to speak to that.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. House Bill 1614 is the cognate to my Senate Bill 1418. And just as a reminder, this legislation was about increasing access to doulas. Originally, there was some confusion around the 10 benefited doula visits. And so with this language, we clarify that the intent is to allow for 4 visits to be on the front end, while the 6 are through the duration of the postpartum 12-month period. And so I'd ask that we would accept this floor substitute.
The question is, shall the floor substitute be accepted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The floor substitute is accepted.
House Bill 1697, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 1722, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 1726, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
Senator Surville.
From the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
The senator from Eastern Fairfax.
Move to adopt the committee substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is adopted.
House Bill 1735, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections. House Bill 1759, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services with an amendment, and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Senator Favola, the senator from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the amendment be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 1776, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 1780, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 1792, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 1798, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 1810, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 1820, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Senator Lucas, the senator from Portsmouth. Senator Locke, the senator from Hampton.
Madam President, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1837, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 1887, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 1901, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 1914, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Senator Locke, the senator from Hampton.
Madam President, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1968, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with an amendment.
Senator Locke.
I move that the amendment be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 1998, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 2022, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 2033, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 2034, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 2061, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. House Bill 2252, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Madam President.
The senator from Hanover.
Madam President, we've been approached about maybe a potential amendment, but wanted to discuss it with the patron before, so could that come out of the block and go by for the day?
Without objection, House Bill 2252 is out of the block and by for the day.
House Bill 2313, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources with a substitute.
Senator Marsden, the senior senator from Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the committee substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 2327, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources with a...
agreed to.
House Bill 2350, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with an amendment and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I move that we adopt the amendment from the Committee on General Laws and Technology.
The question is, shall the amendment from General Laws and Technology be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is adopted.
House Bill 2406, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Senator Locke.
House Bill 2500.
Oh, sorry.
House Bill 2517, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources with amendment.
Again, the senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the committee amendments be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The amendments are agreed to.
House Bill 2691, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations. House Bill 2783, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute, and there are 2 floor substitutes.
Senator Srinivasan, the junior senator from Loudoun.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, with the recommendation, speaking to the bill, the Courts of Justice substitute be rejected. I move that the substitute be agreed to.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the substitute from Courts of Justice be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute from courts is rejected.
Madam President, with the recommendation that the Finance Committee substitute be rejected, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the substitute from Finance be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
Substitute from Finance and Appropriations is rejected.
Thank you, Madam President.
Again, Senator Srinivasan.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the reading of the 4th substitute be waived.
Is it your substitute, sir, or the
My substitute, Madam President.
The question is, shall the Srinivasan substitute, the reading thereof, floor substitute, be waived? Those in favor of waiving the reading will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute, the reading thereof, is waived.
Thank you, Madam President. I now move that the floor substitute be agreed to, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The floor substitute for House Bill 2783 provides further clarity by distinguishing between the Haken Crews, the hook cross, used as the emblem of the Nazi regime and the symbol of hate, and the swastika, a sacred symbol of peace and prosperity for thousands of years by many Eastern religions, including my own Hinduism and certain Southwestern Native American tribes. Importantly, this substitute maintains the bill's core purpose to combat the alarming and intolerable rise of anti-Semitic acts across our Commonwealth, while not inadvertently stigmatizing other religions and cultural heritage. Madam President, as the only practicing Hindu member of this General Assembly, I express my sincere thanks and gratitude to the patron, as well as members of this Senate, for the bipartisan support and work that they did with me. Madam President, I ask for the substitute's adoption.
The senator from Hanover, Senator McDougall.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, speaking to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, the members looked there, they would see a second amendment in line. That second amendment would have added into the list of religions that use a peaceful symbol referred to in Sanskrit as swastika of Zoroastrian and Native Americans. So, Madam President, this amendment picks up what the Second Amendment would do as well, because we were all trying to make sure that if you use this symbol in a sacred religion, that you will still be able to use that symbol.
The question is, shall the floor substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to, which now puts the McDougall amendment out of order. The question now is, shall the House bills in the block pass? That is, all House bills except House Bill 2252 on page 23 and that is it. Shall the remaining bills in the block pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, no 0. The bills in the block pass.
Regular calendar, House bills on third reading. House Bill 1597, a bill relating to secure storage of firearms penalties, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Madam President.
The senator, the senior senator from Loudoun, Senator Perry.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that bill go by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 1597 goes by for the day.
House Bill 1607, a bill relating to purchase, possession, sale, transfer, etc. of assault firearms and certain ammunition feeding devices, prohibited, penalties, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass and speak to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. House Bill 1607 is the House cognate to Senate Bill 1181 by Senator Deeds. It's basically the assault weapons ban. This is sort of the House version of it. We did not conform it to the Senate version. Senator Deeds is okay with that. I don't think I need to explain it much further than that. Everybody knows that we saw it last year, and I would hope we could pass the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 1608, a bill relating to firearm industry members' standards of responsible conduct, civil liability, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Senator Eben, the senator from Alexandria.
Thank you. I move the committee substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Eben.
I move the bill pass and speaking that motion.
The senator may continue.
HB 1608 is now identical to SB 1450, dealing with the firearms industry and standards of responsible conduct and particularly civil liability. And I thank the members of the Courts Committee for their work on this.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 1660, a bill relating to trigger activator definition penalty, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
The senior senator from Loudoun, Senator Perry.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that bill go by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 1660 goes by for the day.
House Bill 1661, a bill relating to deferred or installment payment agreements and minimum payments, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Senator Surville.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass and speak to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. House Bill 1661 is not a bill.
It is the substitute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I move the committee substitute.
A little bit tired, all of us. The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Surville.
And now I move the bill pass and speak to the motion.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a bill that we have not seen on our side prior to the session. It's basically legislation that has to do with installment payments on fines and costs if the defendant is unable to pay in lump. The original bill capped out the monthly payment at $25 a month. We didn't like that. So we basically said the court has to offer $25 a month, or if the defendant is indigent, they can the court can require a lesser payment if after reviewing the person's finances. Pretty simple bill. I don't think it's a big deal, but I hope we could pass it.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 32, noes 2.
Ayes 32, noes 2. The bill passes.
House Bill 1665, a bill relating to fines, restitution, forfeiture, penalties, other costs, criminal and traffic cases, itemized statement. Reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Again, Senator Surville.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass. And speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. 1665 just basically requires a court to produce an itemized statement of fines and costs to a criminal defendant after they've been convicted, and has a delayed effectiveness date till January 1 of 2026. Hope we could pass the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 26, noes 10.
Ayes 26, noes 10. The bill passes.
House Bill 1715, a bill relating to mail theft penalty, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
The senator from Central Fairfax, Senator Salim.
Madam President, I move that we pass Senate Bill 1715 and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This is the cognate to my Senate Bill 939, which we passed out unanimously related to mail theft. We're aligning our state codes with the federal side to make it a Class 6 felony, and I hope that this body can pass this.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 1.
Ayes 35, noes 1. The bill passes.
House Bill 1728, a bill relating to testimony by child victims and witnesses using two-way closed-circuit television or other securely encrypted two-way audio and video technologies standard. Reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with amendments and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass. Speaking to the motion.
You want to move the amendments first?
I do, actually. I keep forgetting that. I do move the committee amendments.
Question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The amendments are agreed to. Senator Surville.
Thank you, Madam President. Now I move the bill pass and speak to that motion.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill is an issue we've been dealing with in the Courts of Justice Committee, I think, at least 2 or 3 years now, sort of wrestling with. It's actually a very difficult situation, and the law is actually kind of complicated and in flux a bit. Basically, it has to do with when a child should be required to testify. A child who's a sex abuse victim, pretty much, has to testify in court live. And obviously that creates difficulties for many people when they have to sit in court and look at their accuser or look at the person that's being accused, who's the defendant, and testify in front of them. And the folks from the victim advocates community would like children to be able to testify by video so they don't have to look at the defendant while they're in the courtroom. The existing law says that in order for a judge to approve that without violating a defendant's confrontation rights under I believe it's the 6th Amendment, you have to show the child will suffer severe emotional trauma, which is from a U.S. Supreme Court case from the early 2000s. There's been some, I would say, flux in the law since then, but the bill that originally came out from the House basically said, if you can show the child will suffer any trauma, they should be able to testify by video. The committee thought that was too low of a threshold because, if anybody, I don't know, maybe you all testified in court, but testifying in court or deposition is not fun for anybody, and anybody's stressful in court. And to overcome somebody's constitutional right to confront their accuser, the courts typically require something greater than that. So basically we made some amendments to basically say that the motion has to be filed at least 14 days prior to the trial date. Originally it was 30. We said you have to show moderate trauma, and that would be proven by expert testimony. And then The third thing is you have to show that the trauma that the expert would find has to impair the child's ability to communicate effectively in court. Those are the amendments we made. As you can see, I still voted against the bill, probably going to vote against it again, but it did come out of committee and it's on the floor, and that's basically what the discussion was.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 32, noes 4.
Ayes 32, noes 4. The bill passes.
House Bill 1736, a bill relating to the Virginia Center for Firearm Violence Intervention and Prevention, Virginia Firearm Violence Intervention and Prevention Fund creation. Reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Again, Senator Surville.
I move the Finance Committee substitute.
The question is, shall the finance substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Surville.
I move the bill pass and speaking of the motion.
The senator may continue.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this bill 1736 basically creates the Firearm Violence Intervention Prevention Center. It's identical to legislation that we passed, I think 2 years ago by then Senator, now Congresswoman McClellan. The amendments basically got rid of the fund and replaced it with a dedicated fund that will be available for the program purpose. But the idea is to try to prevent firearm violence and fund programs that do that. That's what the bill does.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 20, noes 15.
Ayes 20, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 1764, a bill relating to disposable plastic bag tax distribution to towns. Reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
The senior senator from Prince William, Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam President. Move the bill pass and speaking to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This would amend the existing disposable plastic bag tax code to afford any town that's located within the county, because the county is the only ones that authorized to collect the bag tax, to distribute funds to the town solely located within that county. That is the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 1794, a bill relating to elections, primary dates, presidential year primaries. Reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Rouse.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass and speak to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill is identical to SB 1119 from the senator from Weston Henrico that passed out of this chamber 27 to 11. This bill provides that all primaries for offices to be filled at the November election and presidential election years shall be held on the date of the presidential primary. It also lists the requirement that petition signatures must be collected after January 1 of the presidential election year. This bill adjusts campaign finance filing deadlines for candidates in presidential year elections to account for the March primary date. That is the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 1797, a bill relating to concealed handgun permits, reciprocity with other states. Reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with amendment.
Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax.
Madam President, I move the committee amendment.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to. Senator Surville.
Move the bill pass and speaking to the motion.
The senator may continue.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this is legislation that we saw, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but it basically restores the reciprocity for concealed handgun permits back to what it was when Attorney General Herring wrote an opinion that said that other states' concealed weapon permits had to have the same restrictions as Virginia concealed weapon permits for them to have reciprocity. That got undone with some legislation that year, which I think the senator from Spotsylvania might have been involved in. Name the bill restores it to that. There's one change in the bill from before, and that is if you're active duty military and you're transferred to Virginia, your permit from the state you came from is still valid because, you know, active duty people don't really get to choose where they live. But that's what the bill does, and came out on a party line vote. I would hope we could adopt the bill.
Senator Sudeline, the senator from Roanoke.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd ask the senator from Eastern Fairfax if he'd yield for a question.
Will the senator from Eastern Fairfax County rise and yield?
I'll yield.
The senator from Eastern Fairfax yields. The senator from Roanoke has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd ask the senator from Eastern Fairfax. Senator Reeves was the legislative patron of it. Who was the governor that signed this law into effect?
Senator from Eastern Fairfax.
I believe it was Governor McAuliffe, and it was part of another bill that had to do with guns and protective orders, if my memory serves me correct. I think it was like in 2014 or 15.
Senator Sudeline.
Speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe it was 2016. I remember it well because it was a huge issue for those of us that represented any counties that border other states. And it was an agreement. It was a bipartisan agreement with none other than Governor Terry McAuliffe, who was not known as the most bipartisan of governors. He was a very strong Democrat. He'd been chair of the Democratic National Committee, and it was an agreement with the legislature. And it's disappointing to me, Madam President, that it would seek to be undone now. And I also don't think that it's likely to be signed into law, this change, by our current governor. And we've got a lot of business to do, so I don't know why we're spending time undoing agreements with none other than Governor McAuliffe. Thank you, Madam President.
Senator Surville.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking to the bill. Nobody else desires to speak.
No one else, sir?
Thank you, Madam President. So, first of all, I very much remember the discussion as well. My recollection at the time was that the reason that the deal was cut was because Virginia had basically made zero progress on firearm violence prevention in almost 2 decades. And this was like the first bill that passed that had done anything to restrict firearm rights, the protective order bill that this was tied to, since like 1998 or something like that. And so basically the only way to get any progress done on domestic violence related to guns was to concede to this. I just want to remind everybody what we're talking about here, because I vividly remember the floor debate. So we had a hot and heavy floor debate in the other body when I served over there. And when this went through, which I opposed at the time, voted against it, notwithstanding the fact that there was some bipartisan support. But Virginia's concealed weapon permit statute has about 18 different exemptions on it. Those include you're not allowed to get a concealed weapon permit if you're a drug addict, if you are mentally ill, if you've been involuntarily committed, if you are convicted of, if you drunk driving, if you've been convicted of many domestic violence statutes. There's a whole litany of things. They're really kind of ugly. Most other states, though, will give you a concealed weapon permit if you got a pulse, and that's about it. Plus, you can't show you're a felon or you're a citizen. That's about it in some places like Texas. And so the idea is to make sure that other states are as restrictive in terms of who they'll give a concealed weapon permit to, so that somebody from Virginia, for example, can't go to Texas. Somebody who can't get one here, say they're mentally ill or a drug addict or extremely violent or like to beat up people or whatever, can't go to Texas to get a concealed weapon permit and march around Virginia to do something here that we otherwise make illegal in this state. And that's why we need this bill. And that's why it was bad to repeal it, what we did, go against what the Attorney General said before, and I would hope we could pass the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 14.
Ayes 21, noes 14. The bill passes.
House Bill 1819, a bill relating to CPACE financing programs, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
The senior senator from Prince William, Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam President. Move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam President. Move that the bill pass. And speaking to the motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. So this is an adjustment to the CPACE, or the Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Financing Program. It's an existing program, but what it does for this bill is just clarify and carve out and make sure that if you're a leasee, that you control the equipment itself. It can be eligible with the underlying owner's agreement of that financing structure, as well as has a provision in terms of having to file deeds and waives that process, since it's a subordinate lien anyway, and clarifies the agreement that a locality has to enter into after the adoption of amendments of its CPACE ordinance, and that is the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 0.
Ayes 35, no 0. The bill passes.
House Bill 1869, a bill relating to purchase, possession, or transportation of firearm, assault and battery of a family or household member or intimate partner, penalties, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute, and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
The senior senator from Loudoun, Senator Perry.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that bill go by for the day.
Without objection, the bill goes by for the day.
House Bill 1876, a bill relating to carrying a firearm or explosive material within Capitol Square or building owned or leased by the Commonwealth, exemptions, public institutions of higher education, penalty, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute, and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Madam
Senator from Charlottesville.
Madam President, I move the committee substitute pass.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Deeds.
Madam President, I move that the bill pass, and I'd like to speak to that.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, you members of the Senate, you will recall this is the bill that relates to possession of firearms on a college campus. It was meant to modify the bill that passed last year that was vetoed by the governor by addressing specifically the governor's concern expressed in the veto message that it didn't address the differences throughout Virginia. This requires adoption of resolutions by or ordinances by each Board of Visitors. It's an exact form of the Senate bill, which has already passed this chamber. Again, I ask that it pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 1941, a bill relating to invasive plant species retail sales, reported from the Committee on Agriculture and Conservation and Natural Resources with amendments.
Senator Marsden, the senior senator from Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the committee amendments be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The amendments are agreed to. Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I now move that the bill pass. And speaking to that measure.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The bill requires a retail establishment to post signage in proximity to each invasive plant, identifying such plant as invasive, educating consumers regarding invasive plant species, and encouraging them to ask about alternatives. The bill requires the Commissioner of Agriculture Consumer Services to designate the format, size, and content of each signage no later than October 1st, 2025, and requires the Commissioner to issue a stop sale order and mark or tag a plant in a conspicuous manner when an invasive plant is for sale at a retail establishment without appropriate signage. This bill, I am assured by the Senator from Central Fairfax that this is now identical to his bill, Senate Bill 1166, and certain provisions of the bill have a delayed effective date until January 1st, 2027, and I reiterate my motion that the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 27, noes 9.
Ayes 27, noes 9. The bill passes.
House Bill 1977, a bill relating to weapons possession prohibited in a hospital that provides mental health services or developmental services, penalty, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Senator Somerville. The senator from Norfolk, Senator Williams-Graves.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to make a motion that House Bill 1977 pass. And speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. House Bill 1977 is the same bill as our Senate Bill 1110, which made it a misdemeanor for anyone to enter into a hospital with a weapon, basically with the intent to do harm. It also had signage requirements, and that bill passed out of the Senate, and I renew my motion that this bill pass as well.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 2002, a bill relating to voter registration, cancellation of registration, sources of data, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Rouse.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll move the bill pass and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The bill requires that the general registrar may not cancel any voter registrations based on any source other than that of the Department of Elections or a state agency approved to do so by the Board of Elections, except for request by the voter. The bill also reinstates a provision prohibiting the general registrar from canceling registrations of certain people residing temporarily outside the U.S. or in the uniformed service of the United States and their spouses and dependents. And that is the bill before you.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 2008, a bill relating to Virginia Erosion and Stormwater Management Program Authority, right of entry, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources.
The senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill pass, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill removes the restriction on localities that operate regulated municipal separate storm sewer systems, MS4, to only enter on those properties from which a discharge enters their MS4, and allows such localities to, at reasonable times and under reasonable circumstances, enter any establishment or upon any property, public or private, for the purpose of obtaining information or conducting surveys or investigations necessary in the enforcement of the Virginia Erosion and Stormwater Management Program. However, the bill restricts operators of an MS4 that are not a locality or any duly authorized agent thereof to only enter on those properties which, from which a discharge enters their MS4. It's identical to SB 1093, Senator Perry, that passed out of this chamber, and I reiterate my motion that the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 2056, a bill relating to absentee voting in person, voter satellite offices, days and hours of operation, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Rouse.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass and speaking to that motion.
The senator may continue.
This bill authorizes the governing body of any county or city to prescribe the dates and hours of operation of voter satellite offices for absentee voting in person. That is the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? The senator from Roanoke, Senator Sudeline.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking briefly.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. So under this bill, we will further have different voting hours across the Commonwealth. I don't think that's a great way to go. I think if we're going to prescribe voting on these different days, that's great. And we had opportunities to do that. We've made it very clear that on Election Day itself, it always ought to be from 6 in the morning to 7 in the evening. It's that way, if you're in the richest neighborhood in the richest county or in the least affluent neighborhood in the least affluent county. But now what we're going to do is we're going to set it up so that the jurisdictions that have more money will have an easier time of having their folks vote, and it'll be harder for the other folks. I think what we ought to do is we ought to prescribe on what the actual hours ought to be, just like we do on Election Day. Thank you, Madam President.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 14.
Ayes 21, noes 14. The bill passes.
House Bill 2096, a bill relating to Intelligent Speed Assistance Program established, penalty, reported from the Committee on Transportation with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
The senior senator from Enrico, Senator Bagby.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, with the recommendation that the Committee on Transportation substitute be rejected, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the substitute from transportation be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The transportation substitute is rejected. Senator Bagby.
Madam President, I move that the Committee on Finance and Appropriations substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute now from Finance and Appropriations be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute from Finance and Appropriations is agreed to. Senator Bagby.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, House Bill 2096 as amended establishes...
Your motion, Senator.
Madam President, I move that the bill pass and speaking to that.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I'm sorry for getting ahead of myself. House Bill 2096 as amended establishes the Intelligent Speed Assistance Program to provide an alternative to license suspension for speeding or racing in certain circumstances. The program will be administered by the Virginia Alcohol Safety and Action Program and provides for the installation of intelligent speed assistance devices to regulate speed on vehicles in the program. It has a delayed effective date to allow the program to develop regulations, and I hope it be the pleasure of the body to pass this bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 33, noes 3.
Ayes 33, noes 3. The bill passes.
House Bill 2221, a bill relating to prisoners, Department of Corrections issued identification work group report, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services with amendments and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with amendments.
The senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that we agree to the amendments from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services.
The question is, shall the amendments from Rehab and Social Services be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The committee amendments are agreed to. Senator Favola.
I move that we agree to the amendments from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
The question is, shall the amendments from Finance and Appropriations now be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The amendments are agreed to. Senator Favola.
Thank you, Madam President. I now move that we pass House Bill 2221 and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. What this bill does is it directs the Department of Corrections to provide individuals who are incarcerated for at least 90 days, and if they do not have identification, to provide identification to those prisoners. It could be a birth certificate, a Social Security card, or a government-issued ID. The bill goes on to say that there needs to be a work group formed to look at processes in local and regional jails for coming up with forms of identification for individuals who may be incarcerated at the local and regional level. There is a report due to the General Assembly November 1st, 2025.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 20, noes 15.
Ayes 20, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 2277, a bill relating to elections administration, duties of local electoral board, certification of election, grounds for removal, civil penalty, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
Senator Rouse, the junior senator from Virginia Beach.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill establishes that certifying election results is a clear ministerial duty of local electoral boards. Additionally, the bill grants the State Board of Elections the authority to intervene and complete the certification process if a local electoral board fails or refuses to do so. And that is the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 14.
Ayes 21, noes 14. The bill passes.
House Bill 2479, a bill relating to elections, political campaign advertisements, synthetic media, penalty, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with a substitute.
Again, Senator Rouse.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass and speaking to that motion.
You're moving the substitute, sir?
Yes, I'd like to move to substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. Substitute is agreed to. Senator Rouse?
Thank you, Madam President. The bill, as it sits with the substitute, it just prohibits the publication or broadcast of electioneering communications that include synthetic media as defined in the bill, unless they prominently display the following statement: this message contains synthetic media that has been altered from its original source or artificially generated and may depict conduct or speech that did not occur. And that is the bill before you.
The question is, shall the substitute, shall the bill be agreed to? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 23, noes 13.
Ayes 23, noes 13. The bill passes.
House Bill 2555, a bill relating to modification of sentence for marijuana-related offenses, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax.
Move the bill pass and speak to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, House Bill 2555 is a bill that we haven't seen since 2023. You all might recall the Finance Chairman, Chairman Lucas, President Pro Tem, carried legislation back that year relating to modification of sentence for people who had marijuana convictions. Delegate Henson took a shot at this. However, he slimmed it the bill went to the House and didn't come back that year. What he did this year is he sort of took one part of the bill, knocked out two parts of it to sort of slim it down. The legislation before you basically allows people to petition for modification if they've been convicted of marijuana distribution in light of the legal law changes we made a few years ago. Those sentences are really not particularly just. The parts he excluded were people who had had their sentences enhanced because of a prior marijuana conviction or people who were convicted of marijuana distribution plus another offense. Those two extra provisions caused consternation a couple years ago. They're out of the bill. So the bill that passed, the bigger bill, which allowed a lot more people to petition, actually got some bipartisan support in this chamber. So I'm hoping we can see that again today, Madam President. So I'd hope we can pass the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 2559, a bill relating to authority of local governments, service employees, reported from the Committee on Local Government with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
The senior senator from Enrico, Senator Bagby.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Bagby.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the bill pass. Madam President, as
The senator has the floor.
thank you, Madam President. Madam President, as the bill stands, this House bill is identical now to my SB 1489, which permits any county, city, or town in the Commonwealth to provide for certain requirements concerning incumbent and successor service employees defined in the bill by the local ordinance or resolution. I hope it be the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 2630, a bill relating to replacement of fees during development process in localities, tree canopy fund, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources.
The senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that HB 2630 pass, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill has been nicknamed Liam's Law for the third grader who testified in favor of this bill in front of the House and Senate AC&R committees. Liam's Law would authorize localities to create a tree fund which developers can pay into if they are unable to plant or site or meet tree replacement requirements in that locality. The locality can then use money from the fund to plant and maintain trees on public or private property, or give funds to community organizations that operate for tree planting, stewardship, or other community beautification missions. Funds collected by the locality must be spent within 5 years of collection, and I reiterate my motion that the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 27, noes 9.
Ayes 27, noes 9. The bill passes.
House Bill 2631, a bill relating to purchase of firearms, waiting period penalty, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Senator Salim, the senator from Central Fairfax.
Madam President, I move that House Bill 2631 pass, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This is the cognate to my Senate Bill 891, which is related to establishing a 5-day waiting period for firearm purchases, provides that no person shall sell a firearm unless at least 5 days have elapsed from the time that the prospective purchaser completes the written consent form to have a licensed dealer obtain criminal history records. Madam President, with that, I move that we pass this bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 2638, a bill relating to conservation and replacement of trees during development process. Reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources.
The senior senator again from Fairfax, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I yield to the senior senator from Loudoun, Senator Perry.
Senator Perry, the senior senator from Loudoun.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that bill go by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 2638 goes by for the day.
House Bill 2647, a bill relating to restorative housing and isolated confinement restrictions on use. Reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Senator Favola, the senator from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President. I yield to the senior senator from Henrico County.
The senior senator from Henrico, Senator Bagby.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the bill pass, and I would appreciate the opportunity to speak to that.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, House Bill 2647 is identical to my SB 1409, which is related and focused on restorative housing and isolated confinement, and I hope it will be the pleasure of this body to pass this bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 15.
Ayes 21, noes 15. The bill passes.
House Bill 2657, a bill relating to involuntary manslaughter, certain drug offenses. Reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
The senior senator from Loudoun, Senator Perry.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that bill go by for the day.
Without objection, the bill goes by for the day.
House Bill 2668, a bill relating to elections administration procedures for removal of electoral board members and general registrars. Reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
Senator Rouse, the junior senator from Virginia Beach.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
This bill allows the State Board of Elections to remove any member of an electoral board or general registrar by 2/3 vote after a public hearing based on neglect or a clear ministerial duty of the office, misuse of the office, or incompetence in the performance of their duties, or an ambiguous indication of a future refusal or failure to carry out their duties where such refusal is likely to have a material adverse effect upon the conduct of the office. That is the bill before you.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 14.
Ayes 21,
15.
noes
Sorry.
15. The bill passes.
House Bill 2782, a bill to amend 4 VAC C15 322S25. Reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources with amendment, and there is a floor amendment.
Senator Marsden, the senior senator from Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the committee amendments be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The amendment is agreed to. Senator Marsden.
Madam President, I would yield to the senator from Prince George, Senator Stewart, for his floor amendment.
The senator from King George, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd move we waive reading of the floor amendment.
The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment, the Stewart amendment, be waived? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The Stewart amendment, the reading of it is waived. Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd move the floor amendment be agreed to, and speaking to that.
The senator has the floor.
So, Madam President, what this underlying bill does is it removes a regulation that imposes a restriction on catching blue catfish which are over 32 inches. And Delegate Simon and the House carried this bill, and I've spoken with her, and she agrees with my floor amendment. Initially, it was limited to the fall lines of certain rivers and certain other areas, and in discussions, we all agreed we need to expand this, and that's what my amendment would do. It would strike that and just say it removes that restriction in the Commonwealth. The reason we want to do this is because the blue catfish is an invasive species that was introduced by Game and Inland Fisheries some years ago to create a recreational fish for people to catch, and it actually has ended up being worse than the snakehead as an invasive species. It is eating up everything in the Chesapeake Bay tributaries, rockfish, crabs, you name it. We can't do anything with it. We can't catch enough of them. I was speaking with my colleague from Prince William. He and I both serve on the Bay Commission together. It's an enormous problem in Washington, D.C., in Maryland, in Pennsylvania, everywhere. And so we don't want to limit how many of those you can catch anywhere. I hope you all will adopt this amendment.
The senior senator from Prince William, Senator McPike.
Speaking to the floor amendment.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. I hope the body joins the senator in the endorsement of this. He's absolutely right. Blue cats are just one of the most invasive things. You know, we stocked it in Virginia back, 40 years ago for sports, and they've taken over and destroyed so much. They need to be cooked, eaten, whatever we can do to get rid of them. So please endorse the floor amendment.
Senator Mulcahy, the senator from Mecklenburg.
Speaking to the amendment.
The senator has the floor.
I respect my colleague and friend's amendment. However, this will add back into some lakes that I represent, which is Bugs Island Lake, Carr Lake, and Lake Gaston. And he's going to make some of my recreational fishermen very unhappy with this. We have all kinds of fishermen in my area, and there is a group that is not happy if you add our lakes back in. We have bass fishermen who might like this, but we also have the catfish fishermen that is not going to like this, and they've been very loud in my district to ask that this amendment not be put on this bill. Thank you.
The question is, shall the Stewart floor amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is agreed to. Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I now move that the bill pass. And speaking to that motion,
The senator has the floor.
I move actually that the bill pass as amended by the senator from King George. The bill simply requires the Board of Wildlife Resources remove the one fish daily limit for blue catfish longer than 32 inches in the tidal and now above the fall line waters of the James, Rappahannock, and York rivers and their tributaries below the fall line and above. This expands on previous legislative efforts that focused on commercial harvest and processing of blue catfish. It gives Virginia another tool to reduce the population of this invasive species, protecting struggling native fisheries such as striped bass, blue crabs, river herring, and American shad. It is anticipated that any costs DWR may incur can be absorbed with existing resources. Unfortunately, this fish has become very unpopular and damaging to our fishing industry here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I would ask the body to amend it.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 1.
Ayes 35, noes 1. The bill passes.
Uncontested calendar has bills on second reading.
Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax.
Madam President, I move that all House bills on second reading on the uncontested regular calendars, pages 43 through 62, House Bills 1611 to 2750, that the rules be suspended and the second constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the second reading of the titles of House bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 43 through 62, House Bill 1611 through House Bill 27 be dispensed with. All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Senator Sorovell.
Move that all of those bills go by for the day.
The question is, shall the House bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on third reading go by for the day? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills go by for the day. Senator Sorovell.
Inquiry the clerk, does that complete our Friday calendar?
Yes, sir.
Is there any other business to come before the Senate? The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Rouse.
Thank you, Madam President. Rise for an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
All right, there is a basketball game on Monday, but I know we have a lot of work to do. So there's Commerce and Labor has a committee, and I know Finance is meeting as well. The good thing is we don't take the floor until 8 p.m. So it's a pretty late night. So have a good weekend, but also make sure you hydrate because we're going to need everybody. Thank you.
The senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. Rise for an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
The game is the game, but cancer research is cancer research. We're still short a number of contributions to get to our 10,000 goal. Please get them to me on Monday if you can. This is so important, and we've always met our goal here, and let's get it done. Thank you.
The clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Friday, February 14th, happy Valentine's Day. The Finance and Appropriations Committee will meet 15 minutes after adjournment in Senate Room 3. Monday, February 17th, the Committee for Courts of Justice will meet at 8 a.m. Senate Room A. The Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Resources will meet at 8:15 a.m. Senate Finance and Appropriations Room, 13th floor. Senators Lucas, Deeds, Locke, and McDougall. The Committee on Local Government will meet at 8:30 a.m. in Senate Room B. The Democratic Caucus will meet 45 minutes before session in Senate Room 1. The Republican Caucus will meet 45 minutes before session in Senate Room 2. The weather report for the weekend. Today, mostly sunny throughout the Commonwealth with temperatures in the mid-40s. Flood warnings are in effect in parts of southwest and southside Virginia caused by excessive rainfall and snowmelt. Saturday, the next storm will spread rain through the Commonwealth on Saturday. This may begin as freezing rain in the western part of the state. Sunday, more rain is possible, but the temperature will be back in the 60s. Happy weekend.
Senator McPike, the senior senator from Prince William.
Thank you, Madam President. Rise for an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
Just for the Monday calendar, there will be no local government meeting. We've completed our docket, so thank you for that, and thank you for all the work. Thank you, Madam President.
Senator McDougall, the senator from Hanover.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, rise for announcement.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, you might want to check the longer-term weather forecast and look at bringing your toboggan, snow shovel, snow plow, or other items for the end of next week.
The senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon on Monday.
The question is, shall the Senate adjourn until 12 noon Monday? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 noon Monday.
Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia.